This is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you tuned into the #1 undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown. I'm your host, Mark Roxey, and I am here with my partner in crime, Mr. Harold. What's up, bro? What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling really good, and I'm super excited to be with you today here. And yeah, man, listen. Boxing was, first of all, boxing fans this weekend were lit up, and they got the biggest treat in the last, I don't know, at least the last year, man. Can't remember a fight that was so shocking. And so
I'm all hype.
I know, it was so shocking and it was so unexpected by many of the pundits and many of the fans. And we're talking about the Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney fight that took place this past weekend on Dazn pay-per-view. It took place in New York City, in my hometown, Brooklyn, New York, the Barclays Center. And it was a jam-packed arena. And listen, by now, everybody has heard the news. And if you haven't heard the news, I don't even know why you're listening to the podcast, but thanks for being with us. Anyway, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, wherever you're listening to the Boxing Breakdown, thank you for being with us. You can find the Boxing Breakdown on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And Harold,
Got to pay the bills. You slowing up the progress of the boxing with all that.
Yeah, man. Like, listen, so Ryan Garcia put on the performance of his life. Let's go, Harold. Come on, I know you saw the fight. Tell me.
Garcia really proved that if you let your mental situation not bother you, you can do what you do best easily.
Yeah.
And he was on an island of comfort, emotionally, physically. He had nothing to lose. And he knew that he could always beat Devin Haney because he beat him when they were kids and he had something on him. He will always have something on him.
Yeah.
So, Haney knows that he can't beat him, and that is what really happened. The mindset. Ryan knew that he could beat him, and it was a great fight. You got to start opening up the box on it, but that was a great fight.
Well, to your point, like there's a lot to be said about fighting, fighters in the amateurs, and then, meeting them and locking horns again as pros. This is a very, very good example, based on the amateurs. There's a lot of mapping that goes on mentally where the cadence of a fighter, you understand what the mindset is the fighter. And these guys didn't just fight once, Harold. For those of you tuning in, I think they met like
6 times.
6 times, and it was even Steven, 3-3, right?
Yes. And Haney won the last one. Yeah.
And so this one was really like, I'm not going to say it was like, time to get revenge from my loss, but, there was something about this fight, the characteristics of this fight that really had the boxing world shocked because 99% of the folks out there, well, I mean, not I, as you know, but 99% of the boxing fans out there had Devin Haney winning the fight. And prior, just, I went on the record before in many of the previous podcasts and I said, yes, Devin Haney has the skills to kind of win this fight. And much of it had to do with his, what Ryan was going to do mentally and if he showed up mental. But the fact is that, what I learned about him is that he really is a master of media and marketing, that he really understands how to manipulate and move the market. And that is something really, really amazing as a fighter, that he understood how to sell the fight. He sold the fight.
Some of it is this happenstance. It just happens. Initially, he's not looking to do that, but it's starting to roll downhill, if you will, and some of that stuff just happens to fall in his lap. Some of it's intentional, some of it's not. It's all good, but the bar has been set so high, the cringe level has been set so high by him. Anybody that comes into the public with anything like that has to top not the craziness, but the level of what it was, which was very cringeworthy. So, it was shocking what Ryan said, but whoever comes up next with their next situation is going to be more shocking than that. He set the bar for that.
Yeah, no doubt. And not only did he set the bar, but I think what was shocking when you go back and you watch go back and watch the pre-fight interviews, go back and see the lead up, all of the marketing that they did leading up to the fight. And what you're going to see is that Ryan Garcia pretty much spelled out how this thing was going to go down in his comments. He really visualized this fight and saw how it was going to happen. And he was very, very consistent about that through the lead ups of all the fight. And, I think, what was most shocking is that very few people out there actually also believed in what he was saying. They didn't really get that, Ryan knew what he was talking about. And, leading up to the fight, let's talk about the weigh-ins and the stuff that, because I think, a lot of folks were like, what's wrong with him?
Okay.
Why is he drinking beer? What about that?
Well, at the weigh-in, they said he came to the podium with a beer. It wasn't a beer. It was actually tea in a beer bottle because he is theatrical, of course.
Yeah.
So he came there with that. You talking about in the weigh-in? He just said that he wasn't going to be taken advantage of again as far as his weight was concerned. So he's going to come in at whatever way it happened to be. I mean, there's so much financial stuff tied up into that. I don't know if the people want to hear about it, but a lot of money changed hands because he was overweight and this, that, and the other, and he made certain promises and whatever. He told Devin, "I'll give you $500,000 for each pound I'm overweight." So he sent Devin $1.5 million, and Devin said he got it. And then part of the contract, stipulates, if he's overweight, he got to give up $600,000 to Devin, plus I think it's like 2% of the back end, something like that, for being overweight. But he made some personal bets on his own that hedged that situation pretty seriously. So he's done a great job on that end. If he was delusional, he bet $2 million on himself and he made $12 million. So that's profitable as it is. But if you want to, that's so that was that. The weigh-in was, it was very theatrical, as you saw. It had the girls and the dancers and all of that. That was like really theatrical. I mean, he started with the horse and all that. So he'll be more polished in that next big fights he has. He'll kind of polish that up a little more, but it was nice.
No, I thought it was the most well-promoted fight from him, in the standpoint of, the antics that led up to the fight. The slap that, was heard around the world, the slap Devin Haney slapped him in the, up. I think they were. I don't know where they were. They on there at the
Empire State Building.
Yeah, and the nice slap at the Empire State Building is always a good move. And
Yeah. The baseball thing where they was going to throw the ball out, but they canceled. The Yankees said, "No, you guys acting too street.
They kicked him out.
Too ghetto for us. We'll just fool you guys." And they went all the way down there, sat down there 2 hours apiece. They kept them away from each other. They were in the suites and enjoyed themselves or whatever. But when it came to throw the ball, they said, "You guys aren't throwing nothing. You might as well just head on back out." But they had a good time while I was there. But then Ryan badmouthed the Yankees, and De La Hoya was right there on camera while he badmouthed them. So it was all perfectly marketed, just like you said, Mark. Whether it was intentional or not, had all those elements in it. That's for sure.
Pause. Whether it was intentional or not, there isn't anything these guys do that are not completely intentional.
Ryan kept saying, "I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing." So
these guys are so friggin' intentional about everything. It's mind blowing. And, their marketing teams and the people that, the big, the people that are running, that have the bag, they know exactly how to get us boxing pundits and fans and everybody in the pocket. They know.
But Ryan did this by accident. He was looking for shock value, and he ended up with a perfect marketing situation.
Amazing. And then all the stuff, all of the hype on the other end. I'm not, no discredit to Haney and Bill Haney particularly, he there were some great memes and some great things that were out, that were being done, to promote the fight, so these guys are consummate professionals as well, and they did a great job marketing the fight as well.
Oh yeah, everything was there. It was really well done.
Oh, it was absolutely.
But you know what it felt like, Mark? It felt like it was haphazard. See, I didn't feel any kind of congruency in the way it was trotted out. It was on all social media, this, that, and the other. But I didn't feel a succession of process in it. It just came from everywhere all at one time, that kind of thing, all haphazard, like it had no structure.
Oh, it had structure to it. And, I was talking.
I know it did, but I'm just saying the way it was presented to us, it was just haphazard. There's so many people think, what happened to the advertising, this, that, and the other, but yet they knew every little thing that was going on.
Yeah.
Still thirsting for more, but they had the adequate information to follow it. But yet they said, where is it? Where's the information? So it was very well done. If that was the way they wanted to throw it out to us haphazardly, so we'd be enthralled, it worked. Because it really did well,
Oh, it did so well, and leading up to the fight, and then also the actual fight. I
want to break that down for sure.
Let's break it down. We are on the boxing breakdown, so let's hit it, bro. Because honestly, the fight itself was amazing, and I thought we can go round by round on this.
Let's do first round real quick.
Go ahead, talk to me about the first round.
All right, first round, what we got? In my opinion, Haney got knocked down and changed his entire game plan and went to do something that he does not do. He's not an aggressive fighter. He's not to be in the pocket and fight with you. That's not what he does. But he was shook by getting knocked down, threw him out of his game plan. He's a very disciplined fighter that usually will stay in his pocket mentally. He lost it.
Yeah.
He got in there with him and decided he needed to be forceful and got right in the pocket with him. And he doesn't necessarily have that kind of pop to make anybody respect him. Yeah. So he wins every other way he does, which is beautiful, but he's not a puncher like that. And he went into the wheelhouse of a man who does that. And the Twitch hook just had his way. He couldn't keep his head off the line, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, his head was off the main line, but he kept ducking right into it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no question in my mind that First of all, I got to tell you, this fight is a modern day classic. This fight's going to go down in the record books because this was a classic matchup. They've touted, and we've been talking about this for 2 years, Harold, the Four Kings. We've been going down and talking about, well, who fights who's left standing. Go back and listen to the previous podcast, and you'll hear us. We talk about these guys all the time, but they finally met. Knowing each other, knowing everything about each other, which is one of the reasons why I think they just came right into the center of the ring, both of them on their front foot, exchanging punches, like attacking one another. And, at the end of the day, the guy who comes, boxing is done in weight classes for a reason, guys. There's a reason why there's weight classes. So when you're able to orchestrate a 3.5 pound weight advantage against a fighter you've met and you fought throughout the amateurs, and you know him almost as well as you know yourself. And yes, they both have matured. They sit down on punches. They do certain things that they didn't do in the amateurs that they now do. But at the end of the day, the cadence of a fighter and the rhythm of a fighter is going to pretty much be there. If you've met them and you fought them, you're going to come to the center of the ring a little bit more aggressive than you normally would because you feel like you know this guy. So
yeah, he sunned him. He did. He sunned him. You're my son.
Yeah,
he did.
He really did. And the fight round one was a very, very good fight. A good round. And I actually had Garcia up for that round. I don't know. How did you score that first round?
Well, the first round, I had the Garcia. Of course, he won the round because he had the knockdown. Yeah. But after that, I thought that he would possibly rest on those laurels. You know how they do, Mark. You knock somebody down early and you're looking for the whole fight and you end up losing.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that he would go back to the offense and give us another round one, not just sit on his haunches, and wait for it to come. But he didn't. So as far as the first round is concerned, he exacted, the situation for me. As I said before, I just thought Haney just kind of got out of his game plan and he didn't go back to it. In that first round, it was kind of a microcosm of the whole fight because he was forced to fight outside of himself and that was to his demise. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the weight difference, as you say, the weight difference is monumental. No doubt about that. Oh, my gosh. Hey, I wonder what that weight would have been, the unofficial weight. And Haney didn't do it either. He didn't take it either.
Right.
So we don't know what they came in at. I mean, he could have came in at 65 or 65. He could have came in there at 65. Maybe Haney, maybe 58.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or more. I don't know. I can't say, but his experience with Tank was so negative. He paid, like you just said, he paid whatever he had to pay so he could come in overweight. Well, comfortable. If I got to pay $20 million, I'm not being taken advantage of at all by any kind of weight situation. I'm gonna come in strong, and I'm gonna do what I do. And like you said, but he paid to do that. He paid to do that.
He paid to do it. It was a smart move, and the reason I say it was a smart move is because you're supposed to not take a fight like that. If you got a fighter that you're contracted to fight at 140 pounds, and he comes in at 143 pounds, 0.5, your team should be like, okay, we're not fighting. The fight is off because unless he loses that pound by, that weight by a certain time, specified time by the commission. But at the end of the day, he didn't make the weight. He knew he wasn't going to make the weight. And I believe the fact that they even had a conversation about the fact that he would come in over, I believe that the Devin Haney camp knew he was going to come in over. So they made a bet about it. So if they made a bet about it, they knew. They must have known something.
Yeah, but everybody, and this is, of course you know this. This is what happens in boxing. It's not like it's a new discipline,
Right.
I'm talking about paying for your supper. You know,
Right. Do you know that Ryan Garcia said the last tweet that he tweeted right before the fight? Did you see that? The last thing he said before the fight is, "Don't be scared from what you're about to witness tonight." Something like that. Quote. Right?
I missed that. I missed that part.
No.
That's pretty theatrical right there. That hey,
I mean, this guy had it in his mind.
I missed that one. That's a good one too, and that's not cringeworthy. That's pretty profound.
It is.
But okay. So where are we at now? So he hit the knockdown, right?
Yeah.
And the recovery, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. Round two. Just to start that off, Haney won the next round number two. He won that next round because he went to what he does, and he wasn't trying to stand in the pocket and engage. But when it got good to him in the subsequent rounds, he tried to stand in there again. He got hit again. He kept going back in there.
Why? What was it? What do you think they were thinking about?
And he was trying to hook with a hooker. He was trying to throw left hooks with a hooker, which is not even his thing. He just was out of character because he got knocked down.
Why do you think he did that? Why do you think do you think that was part of the plan to try to be on his front foot and push Garcia back?
No. He had his game plan. The game plan got augmented. When he got knocked down, he thought in his mind, I need to be aggressive. And then let me go do this. But he doesn't do that well, being aggressive in the pocket with the guy.
Right.
And he just lost his mental concentration. He couldn't keep his head straight off that line. And he just decided he wanted to be an aggressive fighter, but he doesn't have the pop to do it. He can't move anybody back, and he makes himself vulnerable. Yeah. But it was an ego thing. It was ego. And I'm surprised because he's got such a grasp on his mental part, such a situation that he just he fell for that. That's I don't understand it. But the ego is a powerful thing right there. Now, if he fights him again, it'd be a whole different story. It'd be kind of like when Ray Leonard came back and fought Duran that second time, where he was mentally locked in, and no matter what Duran tried to do or whatever, he locked him out there mentally. He wasn't falling for nothing. And then Duran got frustrated. So I see if they do a rematch, that's what I see happening. But this one, he decided to stand there and throw with him. Yeah. He know he got that fast twitch. I know he worked on that punch too. Mark, tell me, what did he do to prepare for it?
Well, if you watch what Ryan does and the way he trains, he's first of all, he's heavy-handed. He's got good punch placement, and he's got this incredible speed. And the thing is it's one thing if you've got speed, right? But when you've got speed and size on your opponent, there's nothing that Haney would have been able to really do to counter both the size and the fact that he's got the speed on him. So in any exchange, while Haney would hit him clean and hard at times, really good stabs to the body, good punches. Yes. There were some good overhands that he landed throughout the fight. But I think that Ryan Garcia understood that when it came time to trade, and he got the right timing on the trades, that he was going to come up, he was going to be there first, and his punches were going to be more thudding. And that was just something they worked on. And I think that, to tell you that he worked on the hook constantly. But you know what his coach was so good in this fight, because you could hear him talking about do not give up the jab.
Derek James.
Excuse me. Sorry about that, Derek James. But yeah, Derek James was talking about the importance of the jab, which is something I underscore with anybody that I, work with, or anybody that I, if I get the opportunity to, to work in a camp or to, make suggestions to fellow fighters that I know, right before a fight, I'll always say, don't give up the jab, because at the end of the day, the jab is king. And, there were times in the fight where Ryan Garcia did give up the
Give up the jab. He did.
And so the fact that Derek James was able to keep Ryan Garcia focused on that, because I'll tell you, when Devin Haney tried to come back and win some of those middle rounds, you could see him on the front foot trying to press Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia got on his back.
That's right.
He started moving a little, and the point was Ryan Garcia was going to try to land the hook into the straight right hand. So I know they worked on the right hand. Ryan Garcia has a tremendous right hand. I think that his right hand, in some ways, could be possibly better than the hook. But
because he throws it nice and straight. That's true, and it's sudden.
It's a beautiful right hand, and the thing about it is that the reason he can't get it off, Harold, and those of you listening in on this, this is valuable information. He can't get that right hand off because he's not using the jab effectively enough. And if he were able to develop the jab better into the hook, because there were times where he could do jab double hook right hand, jab hook right hand. There were opportunities to do all of those combinations. There were opportunities to do double jab because of the distance that Devin was giving up on his back foot. There were opportunities for him to double jab into the right hand, throw the hook, and finish with the uppercut.
Because he got him with a what? He jabbed and caught him with that hook, that one knockdown.
Correct. Because the jab
was first.
If they want to prepare for anybody after this, Tank, Teofimo, any of the big fights that are out there for him to capitalize.
Got to work on that jab.
Well, even though he's saying he wants to go up to 147, okay. You think you're not going to need a better jab at 147? I would say you will. And
that's true, but Haney helped himself to that situation. Haney walked in there and said, "Okay, well, apply what you've been working on me. Here I am." But when he stayed away from that, he won rounds. Yeah. So I'm saying he was a willing quarry. He walked in there on it, and that's what still perplexes me. Yes, Ryan was prepared, and everything you said is just on point. Like, it's beautiful. I'm loving it. But Haney helped him out by getting in range for all of that.
Yeah, and he was there to be
that is the crux. That's the rub. That's the rub. Yes, he was a bigger man and all of that, but Haney could have won if he does what he does.
I would, everything you said, 100%. One thing I will add to that, and I may just have a little bit of a different point on that, Harold, which is
you being gracious. You said, "Oh, I don't like nothing you said."
No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I know what you said. I'm just saying that I don't believe that Haney had a chance to win this fight. Because I think that, as I said initially, Ryan Garcia was too big and too strong and too fast. And when it's one thing to be too big. Usually you're slower than your opponent when you're too big. But he was too big and too fast. And boxing is a science. And the science.
But Ryan wasn't aggressive. Ryan could have good the whole fight and not been aggressive and not come after him and lost on points. He could have done that because he was doing that half the fight. He was just sitting back there and letting what's his name win, and then he came in.
Do you know? Let's break down the tactic even deeper. Let's go even a little deeper because normally we don't do this, but I want to do this because I want you to see this. Let me show you this. If you look at the fight, go rewatch the fight, what you'll notice, and what I noticed very succinctly, is how Ryan Garcia and his team, Derek James and the team, what they did is they came out every round and they won the first 30 seconds of every round. And then they went on the bicycle. And then he went on his back foot. And then he went into counter mode. Go watch the fight again because their tactics were more specific. Sorry, Derek James, but you can't fool me, bro. I know what you did because I studied the fight. And I watched exactly what you were pulling off. It was magnificent. You're a genius. because
It was, but there was also a willing party. Yes, but he still, I get what you're saying. He still made himself available for that work. He did. And I thought he would have a better chance to win the fight if he stayed away from that. You can have a game plan and you don't get to execute it, period. Like that. The last thing I saw was what? Wilder had the right hand. And he couldn't drop it. Not because of age or whatever, he just couldn't drop it. So to me, I get what you're saying, and it's deep. But for me, Haney helped himself to the situation. Yes, they planned it out or whatever, but what helped to me is he changed his game plan. Right. He became aggressive. Now, what if he hadn't become aggressive? Where would Ryan be able to get those things off like he needed to get them off? He would have to go find another way to do it. But he wouldn't be the aggressive one.
Look, Ryan Garcia, so two things to that point.
From my side.
The first thing is that Ryan Garcia, what I'm saying is from a tactical point of view, you win the first 30 seconds of the round. The second 30 seconds you coast, right? You coast for the next minute because you just won the first 30 seconds of the round. Now
you got the judge's eye, yeah.
Yeah, and then you come back at the last 30 seconds of the round and you win that part too. So basically you're looking at fighting it in three pieces, right? And I'm saying that if he was successful with that and he won that first 30 seconds, first minute of the round, then what you end up with, right, is you end up with an aggressive Devin Haney who has to come back and try to win the second half of the round, right? And so when he's coming and he's stepping on his front leg to try to win the next part of the round, now he's susceptible to those hooks. He's susceptible to check hooks, to walking in. And then when he gets there, Ryan Garcia was the bigger man. So he'd push him off, push him back, and throw these blazing three-punch combinations, ending with the hook. So if you think about that from a tactical point of view, it's brilliant. You win the first minute of the fight, first 30 seconds of the fight, whatever that ends up being, and then you force the other guy to fight the kind of fight he doesn't want to fight, which is an aggressive, come-forward fight when all Devin Haney really should have done is wait for his work to come and eat, right? Which is what you said.
Yeah.
But he couldn't do it.
But we're saying the same thing now. Yeah. And I agree with you now. I got you now.
Okay.
Because he's going to be aggressive the first 30 seconds no matter what and establish that narrative, period. Yeah. Right. All right? Because that's the game plan. You come out, you win the third, first. Okay. And what I'm saying, I see it in a bigger picture when he knocked him down.
Yeah.
He changes but what you're saying is the same thing he got from knocking him down, right. He got that from the first 30 seconds of the first round. So in actuality, what I saw because of the knockdown that changed his demeanor, no, his demeanor was changed in that first 30 seconds of that first round because he lost it. Yeah. And then he got knocked down. So we're saying the same thing.
Absolutely. We're saying the same thing. We're discussing it in a slightly different way. But yeah, man, that's the point I'm trying to make. In that seventh round, you remember the seventh round, that was pretty intense, man. Once you started getting to those later rounds and you had you had all the wear and tear.
It was beautiful work though. It was beautiful work. It was seeing Haney move and do what he had to do outside of his character, that was impressive. Now, he tried to do something he doesn't do, and he did it well.
Yeah. Harold, check out the CompuBox numbers for this fight, right? So total punches landed, right? Haney, 87, Ryan Garcia, 106 punches, right? So total punches thrown, 214 for Haney, 285 for Ryan Garcia, right? And then the percentages landed. This is where it gets really interesting because Haney's 41% of his punches landed versus Ryan Garcia's 37. And then the jab landed. This is where Garcia can improve. Devin Haney landed 42 jabs to
which is his bread and butter.
To Garcia's 11. He only landed, Ryan Garcia only landed 11 jabs in the entire fight. So
right.
You look at that, that's phenomenal. Actually, he threw, though. So Haney threw 85 and Garcia threw 54 jabs in the whole fight. So you're looking at a percentage of 49% versus 20%. Power shots, this is where the difference was for Ryan Garcia, slowly dismantling Devin Haney, slowly and methodically dismantling him. Power shots landed 45 by Haney and 95 by Garcia. 95 power shots landing. Power shots thrown, 129 by Haney and 231 power shots by Ryan Garcia. So if you look at that, a couple of things that stand out to me there. Ryan Garcia comes with a tremendous amount of physical power to the fight. He's looking to end it. He's got bad intentions on every punch, right? He's not throwing jabs, right? He's stepping to him on his front foot, and he's throwing 285 punches. So he's coming with power, throwing shots the entire time.
And he's whipping that hook like a jab.
Oof.
That's the one that opens the door for him. It's not a jab in the orthodox way where your arm is extended, but he's using it the same way, right? It's a lead hook, and he's so quick he can get it in there without the safety of the extension of the arm. Yeah. But you're saying if he goes ahead and gets that jab discipline in, it'll be good for him. But just like you just said, look at his knockouts. He's knocked out everybody except for one person, right? So, and I went back and looked at all his stuff. It's all the same kind of thing as Mark, you said with the hook and with the left hook and all that, right?
Yeah.
But he jabbed earlier in his career, Mark, and he got away from that when he started putting people away. So, what kind of migration was that? You think he can go back to that?
He has to go back to that because he's going to step up and he's going to fight fighters. And, the way I don't know what his handlers and what his management are planning. Really, none of us do at this point. We can speculate and we can say, oh, he's going to fight this guy. He's going to fight that guy. What I think will happen is I think he will. I don't know. He'll fight Gervonta Davis at a catch weight somewhere. They'll agree to a fight. There's just too much money to be made to not make that fight again.
But they got to marinate that a little bit, I would say. Maybe a rematch. Would you do the rematch? Does Haney warrant a rematch?
No. First of all, well, I'm not. Who am I to say? If I'm Haney's sponsor,
you already commented. You said no. Okay.
Let me quantify that. No. I think that the way that I would handle it is I would have Gervonta Davis first because there's a lot of money on the table there. Take that fight and beat the bricks off of Gervonta Davis. If I'm his handler, right? If I'm on his team, this is what I say, right? And then if you lose to Gervonta Davis, guess what? You go
rematch.
Fight Haney. Get the next fight is Haney against Haney, and that. And then maybe you get another one with Gervonta again, or who knows? Maybe Teofimo falls into the mix.
Yeah, there's other people in there. I don't see them. He going to Davis right next to 25 to 26. I don't see him going to Davis until 26. He gonna fight 2 more times this year, two more times next year, and then we'll see that in 26. What about Shakur? You acting like he's nowhere to be found. How come he doesn't work into your process at all?
Say again?
Stevenson, how come he doesn't work into your process?
He's not. No, because I just don't. I just don't.
Why?
We're not talking about Stevenson because he wants a fight. Of course, he wants a fight with Ryan Garcia. If Tank doesn't take the fight, then of course he's going to fight Stevenson because that's a good fight to be made too. But that's not the fight I'm talking. I'm just saying. Like I said, I started out by saying I don't know. I mean,
Okay, well,
I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the
the Tank
Tank
fight.
Davis fight. I think he needs to go back and get that, and he needs to get that back without the weight stipulation. And if he can get that without the weight stipulation, then he has an opportunity to.
But you're saying you want him to go back to it right away, right?
Well,
Next fight?
Yeah, I think his next fight. Yeah, why not? That money's right there for you. Are you kidding? Go after it. He's got all the momentum right now. There's no reason for him to be messing around with anything that's not going to bring in real money. I mean, he's a money fighter now. He's like, he's in charge. He really is.
Okay, so Tank's got his fight. Tank's got his fight. If his fight is easy type thing or whatever, then I guess, like you said, he's a money man now. Everybody's got to jump to his tune. I don't know if he wants to go back in there with him right now. I give him some more time of reflection and well, like you say, it's about the money.
Yeah.
And Stevenson can't make him no money.
Yo, Harold, listen, we could talk about this all day long.
Okay, next subject. My bad.
I think it's good. I think we kind of wrapped it up. I mean, we're right at 45 minutes. I think we hit it. I think everybody knows what to expect. We've got another podcast coming up next week.
Post fight, quick post fight.
All right, go
post fight. Okay, post fight. The Haneys were gracious in defeat. There was no negative name calling or anything out of the way. They were definitely, good with it. As you know, he said, "Hey, let's fight again," and Ryan said he was good with that. So that showed class because they did show that. Now Ryan, on the other hand, is going to go off the hook. He's going to double down. The things he's going to say the next 2 or 3 months will be just totally outlandish. I mean, just far beyond what he said previously, because he wants everybody to eat the crow. And he's really going to be really cringeworthy this next couple months. So just look out, because you're going to hear and see some crazy stuff from him. But hey, he had a situation. Now, for me, it's like this. Yes, he won the fight. But if there's a mental issue, it still has to be addressed. If it's a mental issue.
Nah, bro.
Because let me finish. Because he won the fight doesn't mean that it wasn't a mental issue. But on the other hand, if he's crazy like a fox, he's crazy like a fox. And either way it goes, whether it's contrived or real, it's still going to boost the popularity. And I'm looking forward to the craziness he's going to dig up until he gets a fight.
Me too. I think it's going to be incredible, Harold. And you know what? We got a lot of boxing to chop up, and we've got some stuff to talk about anyway off air, because I want to tell you about another project that we got going on. So
okay.
Yeah, man. So listen, everybody, thank you for being with us on the Boxing Breakdown. Ryan Garcia shocks the world, man. Unbelievable. Go watch the fight. Harold, thank you as always for being with us on the Boxing Breakdown. You are the best, and peace and love, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you when I see you.
House, brother.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.